I'm going to talk about bugs today and how to feed your bearded dragon. So I'm going to start off by saying there's a whole lot of rules that have been laid out, and they've been around since I've been around, and they're good rules as a starting off point, but they are not the ultimate. In years I've followed rules and the majority of the dragons looked good, but then I would have these weird ones that wouldn't do well under the rules, So what I've been telling people for the past couple of years now is honestly the best thing you can do is watch your dragon. Their body is going to, if you pay close enough attention to them, they're going to tell you what they need. And not by just eating a ton or whatever, but their actual body condition and, watching them, making sure they seem healthy, overall. You just watch those things and your dragon will tell you what it needs. So to start off with the rule, I would say bearded dragons need about 5 to 15 appropriately sized insects per day. Opportunistic feeder. That means that they often will eat way more than I believe they should. This can result in growing way too rapidly, which is actually taxing on the body. You really don't want your dragon to be fully grown by 10, 11, 12 months old. You want it to take 2 or 3 years. Even when you do this, typically most of the growth lengthwise is finished by about a year, year and a half. The other year, year and a half is like weight gain and bulk. By appropriately sized, I mean roughly about the size of the space between the eyes. And again, why I say the rules aren't exact is because each bug is different. Some bugs that are harder, I would recommend feeding a smaller size. And some bugs which are softer, like hornworms, dubia roaches, they can be fed a bit bigger. You really don't want to go too big or anything like that. Inside of small is more beneficial. So the bugs that we feed here are mealworms, crickets. We feed those probably the most. So again, I've heard since I've been in that mealworms are a bad option. They're a great option for dragons. Another beneficial thing that mealworms do, besides just being a good source of nutrition, is they actually do a really good job of keeping the dragon's teeth clean. If you were to just feed your dragon like soft-shelled insects like hornworms and dubia its entire life, there's a high probability that it's going to actually have teeth problems when it gets into adulthood. And I'm not bashing any bugs. I have to say that some of this video might sound like certain bugs I'm bashing. The truth of it is that all bugs bring their pros and cons to the table. So besides that, we also feed dubia roaches, black soldier fly larvae, superworms, the occasional hornworm, and I think that's pretty much what we feed. There's other options out there like waxworms and silkworms and phoenix worms, I think, and all of those are also good options. We feed what we feed because I've been doing it for many years, and it's a good rotation. It's a good amount of bugs to offer to your dragons. To keep it diverse is what I mean. So dubia roaches are an amazing option to feed your dragon. And there was a time when I preached, solely feeding them because they make the dragons look really good. They fatten them up quickly. But, at the time, what I didn't realize, obviously, was that later in life, it can actually lead to issues. Obesity and, fatty liver disease, other such problems that arise from feeding too many dubia roaches. Again, not bashing dubia roaches. They are regularly in my routine of feeding. And in fact, it's the only bug just about that I actually also sell. I breed my own dubia roaches. I only produce enough for my colony to eat, but I will post them for sale on my website when I have like a surplus, which isn't very often, but I'm trying to work on that. Anyways, what you feed your bugs is very important. We gut load our bugs, all of them across the board, with a highly nutritious meal. So even, but like, you know, people will say stuff like, oh, you probably feed crickets and mealworms because they are the cheapest. That is a good reason to feed them, and it does help. The gut load that we feed costs a lot of money. It actually makes the bug quite a bit more expensive than when you purchase it. Feed your dragon what it will eat. So oftentimes people will come to me and their dragon is being picky. They only want to eat dubia roaches or mealworms, or I would not starve your dragon to try to encourage it to eat anything else. What I recommend is that you try other things occasionally, but feed your dragon what it's going to eat, whatever it's stuck on. And I really wouldn't worry about that. I know, because everybody nowadays, as well as me, you know, preaches variety is key. And while I do believe that, I also believe that get bugs in your dragons, regardless of what they are. Occasionally try some other food options, and typically bearded dragons will eventually get tired of what they're stuck on, and they'll try other food options as well. There's a couple different ways you can offer bugs to your dragons. You can bowl feed, which is a great option if you basically work all day. Typically, you can put bugs in enough to kind of last them throughout the day in a no-escape bowl or something like that. I really wouldn't do this with crickets because they're going to be able to get out of whatever you put them in. And dragons are typically pretty good, you know, if you're not overfeeding them, about clearing the crickets out pretty quickly. But other bugs you can put in a bowl. Almost every other insect that I mentioned here that I feed, you can put in a bowl. And the other way is to feed multiple meals a day, multiple small meals each day. You could just go in 2 or 3 times a day and just put a small amount of bugs in and let them go for it. Either option is good. And again, I actually have bowls in all of my dragons' cages because, you know, I stay so busy with the kids and all the different animals that sometimes that's what I do. I'll just feed them once a day, and I fill the bowl up. Based off of how many, you know, that group is eating or whatnot. I'm gonna go back to what I said in the beginning of this video. Watch your dragon. Some dragons need more bugs and some need less. I have plenty of bearded dragons that are good with bugs a few times a week. Like, I'm talking once or twice a week, 5-10 bugs. They're good, and they stay on that side of like a very good healthy weight where they're like nice and chunky but not quite obese. When they get to that stage, I cut bugs back pretty drastically. It's easiest to not ever let them get there, and it can be difficult sometimes. And then I have other dragons who are very trim and in shape, and they'll eat 20 bugs a day, you know? So you really just need to watch the dragon and pay attention to its body condition and adjust based off of that. So I hope this video was helpful to everybody when it comes to feeding your dragon some bugs. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Send me a message anywhere. Shoot me a text, email, any of my social medias. I really appreciate everybody watching my videos, and yeah, so I think that's about it. I'll see everybody next time. If you want to see all of my available bearded dragons, leopard geckos, ball pythons, dubia roaches, and merch, I'll include a link in the description of this video. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.